On today's terrific episode of Marketing Machines and Mischief, two established ad tech companies prove that they're not all printing money. AI in the marketing industry is in its plumbing phase. However, AI in the PR industry is becoming a slippery, multi-headed hydra. I hope you're ready to go. Welcome to what used to be G.G. Allen's favorite marketing and advertising show. I'm Matthew Newell.
And I'm Chris Stone, and this is where we cut the crap and give you marketing intel that actually matters, whether you're running your first campaign or your 500th. Matthew, if the algorithm gods are listening, you good, fam?
Yes, I am. Here's everything that you need to know in the industry that once convinced your grandparents to pay $20 for a pet rat. All right, today's lead headline, Israel's Outbrain and France's Teeds, two pretty impressive ad tech companies, merged back in the beginning of 2022 for a skosh shy of $1 billion. Since that time, their earnings have cratered and their stock price has fallen by 90%. In an attempt to settle this down, the company has announced a 10% workforce reduction. My apologies to those people. Business Week writes, Teeds had experienced complexities due to merger processes as well as, quote, macro volatility in certain geographies and verticals. What the? Take note of a sentence that makes no sense, Chris.
Right. It turns out that merging two ad tech companies is harder than merging their PowerPoint decks. Who knew?
It's true. It's true. Next up in our marketing news queue, a terrific report from CFO Marketing, just south of here or just south of me in St. Louis, highlights that marketers are past the new shiny object phase of AI and into the normalization process, i.e. using AI as plumbing in your marketing process. So the connectors, the APIs. They write, teams that treated AI as a shortcut are being outpaced by those who rebuilt their systems around it. This is a great reminder that as technologies mature and platforms build in more APIs, opportunities are going to keep surfacing at least for a couple, 3 years. Chris, what do you think about that?
Well, I mean, people treating AI like a cheat code, getting smoked by the ones who are actually rebuilding the engine. Shocking that doing the work beats looking for shortcuts.
Every time. And our final headline, the PR side of our industry has had to rethink its core competencies due to AI slop. On one hand, AI is increasing the effectiveness of getting one's message out. On the other hand, AI is making crisis communications a nightmare. A very tame example from last year when AI created a pic of the Pope in a puffer jacket, which did look super cool, but both Balenciaga and the Vatican had to release formal messages that it was not a collab.
Nothing says that we've arrived as a species like the Vatican having to clarify that the Pope isn't sponsored by Balenciaga. Lady Gaga. Can the Pope sponsor Lady Gaga?
Ooh, there's a collab I'd put down a quarter for.
Let's do it. All right, Matthew, it's time for our favorite segment of the show, Real Recognize Real. Let's talk about Facebook doing something I didn't think was possible in 2025, which is making me not hate a holiday ad. Their Secret Santa spot just dropped, and honestly, this is the first time in years Meta didn't make me want to throw the phone at the wall. Here's the setup. Guy's got an office crush. Secret Santa draws happening. He's praying that he gets her name. Instead, he pulls his boss, some stoic, unknowable middle manager who probably thinks synergy is a personality trait. Most people would panic, buy a Starbucks gift card, call it a day. But not our hero. He goes full detective mode, stalking his boss's Facebook profile like he's tracking down the Zodiac killer. What does he find, Matthew? that his boring, buttoned-up boss is not just into gardening, she's secretly obsessed with Kiss. Not the romantic kind. The cold gin time again, face paint and rock and roll kind. So he hits the Facebook marketplace, finds a set of vintage Kiss garden gnomes, and becomes the office legend. Here's why it works. Number one, it's not trying to save Christmas or cure loneliness with an algorithm. It's just a guy trying not to look like an idiot at work. Relatable, human, actual stakes people care about. Two, product integration isn't obnoxious. Facebook and Facebook Marketplace are tools in the story, not the point of the story. They're not screaming, look at how we connect with humanity. They're just there. They're useful. Kind of the way that a hammer's useful when you need to hang a picture or a phone insurance plan when you shatter it against your wall. And finally, the soundtrack slaps. The score gives it the cinematic kind of feel, and then they drop Kiss's Cold Gin right when he finds the gift, and suddenly you're grinning like an idiot. Clever without being cute. Real recognized real, Matthew. This one's legit.
I love that. That is a turn that I would say most people didn't see coming. I also love the breaking the stereotype of the traditional middle-aged woman being, corporate, whatever. She loves Kiss. Yeah. Everyone loves Kiss at some point.
And garden gnomes.
All right, Chris, here is my real recognize real. And admittedly, this one is a little nerdy, even for me, but I want to give a shout out to one of the best branded ideas in the entire corporate world. And that is, please stay awake for this, Gartner's Magic Quadrant. I got to give a little bit of background here. Gartner is a US-based mega consultancy for massively big companies. If you've worked at a company where a Gartner consultant walks in, congratulations, that company is making too much money. 3 decades ago, they released their first ever quote unquote magic quadrant chart that mapped out of which tech players were niche players, visionaries, challengers, and then here's the magic, the leaders in the upper right column. Now, seriously, before I put you to sleep, here's the point. They figured out a way to make a chart based on a pure subjective perspective interesting. Completeness of vision is one of the measurements. Second, everyone still calls it the Gartner Magic Quadrant. It's branded and it's about as sexy as tech consultancies can get without actually being interesting. Never give up. Thank you, Gartner, for doing something that is almost impossible. The boring stuff for you marketers, the boring stuff is just a bigger challenge. That's all. Gartner did it.
Matthew, where do you put yourself on this quadrant? Challenger, leader, visionary, niche player. Where do you put yourself on the XY axis?
I love that. I'm going to put myself right in the bleeping middle, right at the hat. Is that
the crux of the axis? I don't know.
Yes,
sure.
Right at the XY, and I'm kind of hiding in there with a little Mountain Dew, going, "Hello,
it's me. I'm a visionary niche who challenges leaders."
All righty, let's play the marketing over-under game. I put out a scenario. Young Chris provides the over-under, and we all try to get on the right side of the call. So, Chris, Gartner put out its first Magic Quadrant in 1994. They also have an equally cool brand named idea called the Hype Cycle, which is also super legit that people know Gartner for. What year was the Hype Cycle introduced?
Hype Cycle sounds pretty like not too long ago. Like hype was, kind of a thing in the 2000s. I'm taking a shot here. And if they put the Magic Quadrant out in 94, I'm going to say over under the year 2000. Y2K.
Ooh. Love a nice Y2K pick.
All right, that's it for this week's Marketing, Machines, and Mischief. please smash those subscribe buttons, those bells, and anything YouTube and all of these other platforms tell you to click.
If it says that's a good. If it says click, definitely click it. Don't think about it. And a little lesson learned before we sadly say goodbye, marketers, every single day you get to choose if you're going to be a white hat, good marketer, or a marketer with a dead soul and a black heart. Every day, make the right decision, marketers. And we'll see you next week. Thank you, Chris.
Bye.